Hey, before you check out this video, maybe go check out the new Discord. It is in the description. Thank you, and let's get right into things. It's been a little while since I've made content because of a lot of personal stuff that's been going on. So I think we're going to go on to some crazy conspiracy theory TikToks, courtesy of Chuds of TikTok, for content today. I think that's going to be where we're at. And let's go ahead and go to the screen here. That is a face? God, that is a face. I want that in the thumbnail really bad. Let's see what we got here.
So, I had, not directly, but I had kind of the question hinted at me. People
Larry and Jesse, thank you for resubscribing.
Star seeds, right? Why are we born human if we come from other planets and
Why are we born human? I have a very easy answer to that. Just like how the answer to every question that you can ever have in reality about statistics. After an event has happened, what is the likelihood that this event happened? Well, the likelihood is 1, because it's already happened. That's how stats work. Like, the likelihood that something is going to happen is projection. The likelihood that something has happened is 1. Why were you born human? It feels like a circular answer, but the answer is... 'cause you were born! That's why you were born human!
galaxies and things like that, which we don't, people.
Said, why is he naked? Because he's doing this video from his bathtub. I don't know why he's doing this video from his bathtub, but he's doing it from his tub. This man is generating an energy that I will never be able to replicate, okay? If I did content from my bathtub, there would be people trying to get my channel taken down far more than now, and you know what the difference is? Those people would be justified, 110%. Shower thoughts are for posting on Twitter afterwards, not making a video while you're in the shower.
Really? It's like a psyop to confuse you. Lions, we look like lions, what the fuck? No. It's kind of true, but it's not entirely true.
What? Then which is it? Is it kind of true, or is it not entirely true? What?
We're ethereal. Without a body.
Wait, we are ethereal and without body, but I'm fairly certain that's not true. I think the evidence that's not true is that I'm here and you are there, and we physically have shape. Like both of us, we physically have a shape. I'm fairly certain the mere fact that you have a shape and I have a shape like this, it means we're not ethereal, right? I feel like this is what people do when they say that we have souls and the soul is the real you. And did I leave my drink out? Oh, wow. I made a whole ass drink and I left it in the kitchen. Anyway, I'll go get that here in a bit. But this is what happens when somebody takes the whole human beings have a soul idea and pushes it to their further extreme. No. You're not you. You're the soul. And the you is the soul itself. The body isn't real. This is how people can pretend that they can stop breathing and cure their wounds. This is the type of rhetoric that causes people to believe in the worst kind of woo, when they start thinking that the natural processes of being a human and having a human body don't apply to them. Or anybody, for that matter.
Right? So why be born as a human at all? Because we're ethereal. You see, if we were liars...
That doesn't mean anything. It's that, why be born as a chimpanzee? They would be just as ethereal as we are. Either everybody is ethereal and therefore this doesn't matter, or we are the one special thing that is ethereal, which leads into a feeling of human beings being somewhat different or somehow different than the other species around us for a reason other than our chromosome 2 did a neat thing at one point in time. And
or we were draconian, or we were any of those bullshit things that people make up.
But wait, if we're talking about bullshit people made up, then why are you here giving us your shower thoughts, my guy?
We would just travel in our ships and land as those beings, but no, we're born as humans. We're born as humans because, well, here's how it goes.
Oh?
An alien species that some people call the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, whatever, it doesn't really matter, created the
It does matter, because each one of those has some kind of lore behind it that we need to rip out of somebody's Bible.
human race, and created the human race essentially as slaves. So for all of you people, just on a side note, that think that slavery is a white phenomenon, it's not. It's a human phenomenon. And
Nobody said slavery is a white phenomenon. It just happened to be that in the United States, the majority of people, after we had a certain amount of them come in from Europe, either the majority were white or the ones with all the guns were white. And so there's where most of your slavery came in the United States. Nobody says that slavery was a uniquely white thing. The only people I've ever heard say slavery was a uniquely white thing are right-wing people trying to convince me that that's a left-wing talking point.
And we were the slaves, all of us. But then what they did is they gave certain humans dominion over other humans, and the slave species continuum happened. Okay.
The slave species continuum. I'm lost. What about you?
This is where the interesting thing occurs. Number one, why were some ethereal beings reborn as humans if humans were already kind of like hybridized aliens?
22-month
So
god.
the Starseed thing, that makes no sense. So
The Shadow Wolf, thank you for resubscribing, but also, please repeat that.
hybridized aliens. So what's with the Starseed thing? That makes no sense. So aliens made
Well, the Starseed thing doesn't make any sense because you're making it the fuck up, but okay.
humans, and now aliens are invading humans? What the fuck? Aha, well see, that's the point, you see. Because humans essentially have been, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, not the dominant species.
So what does the dominant species mean? Okay? That's a thing that we're gonna have to actually get a definition on before we can continue at all. So, you know what? Just real quick, I'm just gonna do a thing, right? I'm just gonna do a thing where I pull up here, and y'all are gonna see my search history real quick. Dominant species. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's just find a random definition, okay? Let's just find a definition. Dominant species. The pattern of a few abundant species and many rarer species is a defining characteristic of communities worldwide. These abundant species are often referred to as dominant species. So for the last few thousand years, what he's saying is human beings have not been abundant. Except we have been. Pretty freaking abundant, actually. Like we've populated most of the world. But for his argument to work, that can't be the case. Okay. You know what? I'm looking at what you're putting down. Maybe I'll pick it up eventually. Let's see how far we go.
We have never been the dominant species, and we're still not. We have an overlord. Some of you refer to that overlord as God, but God's such a general word because
That's not what dominant species means! We looked up the definition for this. The dominant species in an area doesn't mean the species in control. The dominant species in an area means the species that is overabundant, and the human race is actually overabundant.
it's like a title, it's like saying king, which king? Which god? Well, the gods that made us. The overlord species that made us. So where are they right now? Why don't they just fight their own battles? Because they left. But they're gonna return. And in the meantime, they just...
Wait, they left! But they're gonna return! What the fuck? So this guy has bad hair? No, this guy has hair akin to what I'll have in 3 years. Barely any. It's not bad hair, it's lack of hair. I've done drugs with libertarians, it's interesting. Look, I don't know what kind of drugs he's doing. Where he's just like, the aliens, man, they're real. And trust me, I've talked with them, I've had hookah with them. And they're gonna return. I want to hear where this mad story goes.
just put us in charge of ourselves until their return. Sort of. So where does that leave the starseeds? What the fuck? Aha! Now where the starseeds come from is quite interesting, but that's...
They come from star dicks. I don't know what else to tell you. Starseeds come from star dicks.
not what I want to talk about today. What I really want to talk about is why don't the star seeds, if they're these flesh and blood creatures from other planets, just land? It's because they're not. So, why inhabit us? Because they need bodies. We need bodies. And why be born as...
But I thought we were ethereal. Are we bodies? Or do we need bodies, or are we ethereal? Which one is it? We can't... So, I guess we're ethereal in his mind, and we inhabit bodies, and that makes us specifically special somehow. Fennec says Fennec says that the tub is full of solvent, and he is high off of the solvent fumes. Fort Spinning says, imagine the arrogance of knowing the universal secrets and all of hominid history. Even a PhD would not be sure of themselves. Yeah. We as humans have this really weird issue with listening to people who sound very confident in their opinions and thinking that they're right because they're confident in their opinions, when the reality is there's a reason we call something a con job. Con men are naturally confident. That's what it means.
Ether. It wants to understand what life is. Is life worth saving? When I say life, I'm talking about human life. So it's not an infiltration to try and topple over the government, so to speak. It's an infiltration of scientific experimentation to see if we have at least a 50% chance of being worth saving.
Where are you getting those numbers from? So the biggest question with all of this, right? Aside from the obvious question of how batshit insane can we get our human origin story that we've pulled off of a random, AO3 blog. The real question is, where are you getting this information? Like, we have to know where this information's coming from. Because right now it sounds like it's coming right out of your butt. And considering that you are currently very naked, it's very easy for that information to make it from your ass to your mouth. There's nothing blocking it right now, you see. And because of that, we have to be very, very worried about the types of things that are coming out of his mouth.
That's what it is. So the ether, the spiritual ether, or it's more quantum ether.
Oh my god, the minute that I hear the word quantum, I want to throw up. I swear to god, the infatuation with the word quantum in the illiterate communities that love science is infuriating to me. Because you can appeal to the quantum something for damn near anything, and it will sound reasonable, because nobody knows what the fuck it is, so nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. If I say the quantum ether, the only person I can rely on for information on this now is you. That's it. Access says, I've heard a little about starseeds. It's some cult thing that drags in autistic people. Well, yeah, because it sounds like a fucking... It sounds like an amazing world for you to exist in. It sounds like a super fantastical reality for you to talk about, right? And that's the problem with a lot of these things, is it can drag people who are prone to hyperfixations and special interests. It can drag them into this world where these things that they are fixated on become so important to them as fixations that they start being replacements for their reality. They start being something that they are not only enthusiastic about, but they actually believe further than it being fiction. Access as it frames autistic people as being some supernatural thing. Jesus Christ. That sounds predatory. That sounds very much like on the nose of Scientology. It says star seeds and indigo children. It's ableist and also racist because a lot of Chinese children are called indigo. I don't know if we could call it racist on its own just because it uses a commonly used term, but it's certainly wackadoo more than anything.
Born into each one of us human beings, which yes does infiltrate, but it also gives perspective, so that we're not only just a bunch of aliens that have been taken over. We're a bunch of aliens that have had an entire human experience.
Those are the same statement. Those are the same statement. Because if you take over a human, naturally the experiences that you will have from that point on will be human experiences or colored by the human condition. Like, you just said the same thing twice, and you didn't add anything to it. Not really. All you did was change the time and date that the takeover happened.
An entire unbroken human experience. And I say unbroken because most of us starseeds, and I really hate that term, but let's call it starseeds. Most of us...
You really hate the term? Then stop using it. It's a bullshit term in the first place. Like, it's a term that truly means nothing, except for the people making up the lore. So, if you don't like the term, just don't use it. It's a bullshit term anyway.
Starseeds only had the awakening process, and some of you haven't yet. You think you have, but you haven't. Some of us have only had...
I'm awakened. You're not awakened, though. You think you're awakened, but you're not awakened. I am awakened. Listen to me. Listen to me with my shirt off in my bathtub. I'm the sane one here, not you.
Had the awakening experience recently. I'm 43 years old. I'll be 44 in April. And I can tell you this. I just had it a year ago.
See, I'm actually not conceited because I had it a year ago, so I'm special, but I'm not that special. But you should still listen to me. I'm still an expert on Starcom.
Before that, I thought I was human. I am human. But you see what I'm saying? Now I have something else inside of me. Something speaking. And it...
God, if we just call Starseed Starcom and he keeps talking about how it's inside him and different inside him, it recontextualizes everything into something infinitely more dirty.
And every day it speaks a little bit louder, but one of the things it does tell me is that I'm not losing my humanity. I'm still human. I will always be human. I'm just human with a different, as I said earlier, perspective.
You know what else causes a human to have a different perspective? Growing up, which seems to be something you haven't done in all of your years. Just in general, becoming an adult gives you a different perspective. Any number of things can cause you to have a different perspective. You don't need to go through this whole charade of calling yourself a bit of Starcom to have a different perspective on life, or to have a more enlightened perspective. All you have to do is age, and you will have a different, more informed perspective on the world around you. That isn't to say people who are younger have less perspective. That is to say there's less chance of gaining perspective. There are people who are in their 40s, like this guy, who probably have no actual perspective on life because they are spending their time musing from their bathtub about being cum droplets from stars.
Perspective of life. And I don't for a second think that the other starseeds that have experienced what I've experienced are all necessarily good. I think it's been spread across the vastness of humanity. Every color, every gender, every creed, every nationality.
Hey.
There are a handful of us, yes, but there are many of us spread. And not all of us are good. Some of us are going to be of the starseed opinion that humans need to be wiped out. I am not one of them.
They'll be of the starseed opinion. My guy, you don't need starseeds to talk about antinatalists. It's okay to just say antinatalists. It's perfectly reasonable to just talk about people who believe that they should annihilate the human race either through us not fucking anymore or through, you know, thermonuclear war. It's okay to have conversations about those people. You don't need to make up a lore about, well, actually, there's a political unit. There's a political unit in the Starcom community that believe that the humanity that they have infected is actually infested with a pestilence. And the only way that we can use to get rid of the pestilence is with full-scale thermonuclear war. You don't need to do that. You can just say, hey, some people are stupid. Some people just want to see the world burn, quite literally. Like, it's okay to keep it at that. You don't have to come up with a whole starseed lore for that. You don't.
I'm not. So yes, I may be a starseed, but I am fiercely pro-human.
Okay.
Most
Cool.
humans. And more so than pro-human, I'm pro-Earth. I don't give a damn about Polaris or where the Lyrans come from.
Then why are you talking about it so much? Like, it's the in one side of your mouth you don't care about these things, in the other side of your mouth you care about these things so much because they are necessary for this fantastical lore that you've created for yourself. So, fun fact, when I was a kid, right, I had a second world that I created for myself in my own head. And the reason that I had created this was because I grew up in a Christian private school and I didn't have any way to communicate with people around me that felt good and healthy and reasonable. I had this world. I would put my head on my desk and I would go to sleep and pop into this world. I called it Rip Shift, and it was the thing that I used as a coping mechanism as a child. Now, as I got older, I slowly started to realize that this coping mechanism I developed was just that. It was a way to basically have perpetual and long-standing imaginary friends that had their own story arcs and would grow and become more and more important in my life. And I basically figured this out because I kept yearning for the day that they would pop into existence, and that never happened. Of course that would never happen, because that's unreasonable to think that that would happen. But I remember being a kid and believing that one day it would, to the point where I even made the villain of the story in my head, made it their goal to, like, clash realities that I totally didn't steal from the Mortal Kombat lore, clash realities together and create a world in which, you know, the reality in my head and the reality of the real world were together and fused, and it would cause all kinds of problems. Like, I went very far with the lore here in my brain because it was the way that I survived. I was in a house where I was barely allowed to talk because my stepfather was abusive, and I was in a school where I wasn't allowed to talk because it was a Christian private school that did not allow that. So I know a little bit about where he's coming from. So when I'm ridiculing this, I'm not doing it from the perspective of somebody who just finds it, you know, ludicrous. I do find his words ludicrous, but I find them ludicrous because this is shit I did as a kid. This is shit I did when I was young. This is shit I did years and years and years ago. So I'm recognizing this grand mythos that people can find themselves in. And the worst poison I had as a kid for this world was that there were two other friends that I made that played along. And I don't know if it was because they legitimately believed that it was happening for them as well, or what have you. But I had two friends that played along with it, and then I stopped being friends with both of them for various reasons. One of them, we eventually went to different schools, and that friendship died. We also had a souring at one point, and I don't remember what that souring was about at all. And then I had another friend who believed the same secondary world stuff that I did, and that friend ended up pointing a shotgun to my head with another friend of ours. And lo and behold, it wasn't that stopped us from being friends. In my eyes, it was him continuing to use swear words because I was a Christian boy. So that was how bad my perspective was on life, not going to lie. But anyway, the point is, I'm just going to drop that thread there and leave it as it is, because that'll be fun for people. But point is, because I developed an animosity with both of these people, I even developed the lore that people who both came to these kind of worlds naturally would come into conflict with each other, because it made sense in my head to operate the world that way, because that's literally what happened in my life. I would merge those two and translate them. So I'm watching shit like this going, I remember doing that at 11. I remember doing that at 9. I remember developing those coping mechanisms. I remember all that. I also recognize them as incredibly unhealthy, especially continuing further in life. Just, you know,
where the Arcturians come from. I don't give a damn about anything outside of our beautiful blue marble.
Well, Suris Muns.
And our sun, Sol, where the word soul comes from. We have a soul. Soul, the sun.
Is that where the word soul comes from? Hold on. I'm gonna check on that real quick, because I don't trust him. Hold on. Where did the word soul come from? Maybe he's right, but I don't think so. The modern English is derived from the Old English soul, the earliest attestations reported in the Oxford English Dictionary from the 8th century. Soul, life, spirit. I don't see anything having to do with the sun. I don't see anything having to do with the sun. The idea of the soul came from ancient Greece, which coincided with the beginning of the Western philosophical tradition, the idea of the soul receiving its first major philosophical statement in Plato's tripartite theory of the soul as concerning of reason, spirit, and appetite. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about the sun. I feel like he might have made that up too. Okay. So does he mean soul? Maybe? I guess that one, soul, that's a different soul, though. That's the Roman god personifying the sun. That's a different soul. What context is he using soul in? Hold on. Let's...
Beautiful blue model, Earth, and our sun, soul.
Okay.
Where the word soul comes from. We have a soul, the sun.
Okay, so no, these are different souls. These are different souls completely. The soul, as in Solaris, as in our sun, is not the same soul as in the soul that people think inhabits you and I. Those are different things. Those are different concepts. They sound similar, but that's how words work.
So that's my little 6.5-minute rant about what star seeds are really all about.
The 6.5-minute rant in his bathtub about Starcom. And how he's definitely not super enlightened and special, but definitely trust him because he's super enlightened and special. God, I'm gonna have a brain aneurysm. Holy shit. Also, hi Tipster, how's it going? Facecam got activated because that is a thing people can force onto me now. Super Vaporeon also, thank you for resubscribing at tier 1. Thank you, I appreciate it. But, okay. That was that. Do you have any more? There's 15 more seconds left in your video. Is there anything else in here that I care about?
Now, maybe in another video, I'll explain the origins of this alien takeover. Where star seeds actually come from. But for now...
Wait. So let's make a 6.5-minute video on my bathtub about where star seeds come from, but also... Tune in next time on Dragon Ball Z to find out where star seeds come from. I know we told you it would happen in this episode, but that doesn't matter. We need the ratings. Jesus Christ. Nope, we're done. We're done. Oh, we're done. We're done with that.
Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh
The
my
card
God.
game.
Thank you, Zada. Thank you. No, we're not doing this Star Seeds thing anymore. Holy shit. Holy shit. Brian says, I just tuned in, and boy howdy, your thing's weird already. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Why did he decide to film naked? It's Shower Thoughts with the crazy, cute conspiracy guy. You know, he's just there. It's just Shower Thoughts. They're very important, don't you know? Don't you know? So Shower Thoughts stay in the shower? I think Shower Thoughts belong on Twitter. I don't think they belong in video. Or on TikTok. Jesus Christ. One of the comments here says the dude has been awake no less than 4 days. That vacant but feral look in his eyes screams I'm a million miles away mentally, and I'm one tiny inconvenience away from making it everybody's
I come
problem.
back from dinner and...
Jesus
what?
Christ.
You woo.
Ravi, thank you for the cheer. You absolute...
UWU
Human.
series, do you want to become a coin?
No, I don't. And also go away. Anyway. Thank you all for listening to this. I don't know what I even consider this. Conspiracy nut hour? I don't... Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.